The silver days, as they call it, of the 1960s are gone, but not forever. Phil Grice has collected thousands of audio tapes of old TV shows from the 60s, and coming up, we'll talk with Phil in a few minutes. Carol, Patty Ann.
We had a rotten week, and it looks like we'll have a nice weekend.
Oh, right. Yeah, it looks great. The payoff. Thanks, Norm. Well, a trip back in time to the early days of TV. Christina Tiberio has more. Chris?
That's right. You probably remember television programs from the 1960s, but you haven't heard them in a while. Coming up, we'll talk with a man who's collected thousands of those television programs for decades. Stay with us.
The last charged. The last shot by gun and movie camera on the John Wayne production of The Alamo.
Called the Silver Age of television, TV of the 1960s.
This bygone era is not lost. In fact, they've got audio of it in Old Westbury, right, Christina?
That's right. Right here in Old Westbury, there are thousands of audio tapes of old television programs from the 1960s. The man who's collected those is Phil Grice, and he's here with us. Phil, tell us, what got you started collecting tapes of these shows?
Just the love of wanting to listen to them again. That was it.
Of the Alamo.
And you started when you were a teenager?
Started when I was 16, yes, in the late 50s. And the first shows I taped were the World Series of 1959, Head of Hoppus Hollywood, Maurice Chevalier, any special that was on that would be one time only, usually programs that were on tape and that were very rarely ever played again. Those were the ones I enjoyed. And interviews. I loved interviews and sports.
Now we've got a rare interview here that you've got.
This is a David Susskind open end. It's a lost program, and it's with Woody Allen. Johnny Carson was on the show. Here's a little excerpt with Woody Allen.
No, that's not the issue. It's the level.
This is Woody Allen in 1961.
What really
his first television.
I think it's about. If to me, for instance, it's more solved. Who I still think is without peer, was to talk about hacking subjects like parking or,
Okay, and you've also got another one from a television program that many might remember.
There are many This Is Your Life's around, but I believe this one is lost, and this is a Cliff Arquette segment. Surprised on Jackpot Tonight Show, and here's Ralph Edwards surprising him.
On the bottom.
Motion picture, The Alamo.
Right. Hold on. Well, for some reason, this is not queuing up. Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go.
See, you know more than I do. All right, this is Cliff Arquette being surprised.
The surprise is the easiest thing.
That's right.
It really is. There's surprise parties going all over New York tonight, and I'll guarantee you're the subject of the surprise.
Doesn't know. I bet I could surprise you right now. You still wouldn't know. Do you think you're going to be a subject on News Your Life?
Okay, it sure does bring back a lot of memories. And on Sunday nights, some of your excerpts can be heard on WGBB
With Sergeant
Radio.
Ray's, yes.
Sergeant Ray's show, Sunday night, 9 o'clock. That's it from Old Westbury. Now back to you, Carol, Patty Ann.
Okay, thanks very much, Christina.
They were great old shows then, and it's just sort of like radio used to be, right?
That's right.
We've got a lot more ahead for you on this Friday as we move into the first weekend of summer.
That's right. Stay with us.
Grice of Old Westbury has collected thousands of television shows on audio tapes. He started when he was a teenager, and now he's got these collections here in his studio. Phil, tell us, what got you started with all of this?
Well, my mother and father had bought me a stereo quarter-inch tape recorder in the 1950s. This is the means to audio record. There were no cassette recorders. And I just had a love for the programs that I was watching on television, and I decided to record the audio of those programs.
Did you have any idea at the time that they would be so rare?
Not really. I recorded because I loved what I was watching. And now, 35, 40 years later, I realize that many of these, 90% of what I have, does not any longer exist on video or is not accessible anywhere.
What do you have? We have thousands of them. Give us an example.
Some of the rare shows, we'll listen to one with the John F. Kennedy assassination. I was recording the live first bulletins by Don Pardo, and the first 4 minutes of the NBC broadcast. That only exists from the audio that I recorded. NBC did not start to record their 70.5 hours of material until 4 minutes into their programming.
Let's hear that.
These are original bulletins.
behind the autocade. Stay tuned to your NBC station for the later news.
And this is Bill Ryan.
John Connolly,
First minutes.
reporters on the scene.
This does not exist on video or through the NBC
Governor
archives.
Connolly's chest were clearly visible. It is reported that President Kennedy was seen lying face down on the floor of his car, his wife holding him. Again, we have no word on the president's condition. One AP man on the scene says that blood was visible on the president's head. He has been taken to Parkland Hospital in Dallas, Texas. The motorcade took about 5 minutes.
Within these 3.5 minutes, 3 minutes and 52 seconds, this was never archived by NBC. And the only remnants we have are these first 4 minutes of audio.
Wow. And you've also got some other shows. One is the Jack Benny show?
Jack Benny material. I also have Campy's Corner with Roger Maris, who was going to hit 61 home runs to surpass Babe Ruth. The Beatles, I have some Beatles material here from '67, which...
Any concert that you go on where there's so many people like that, it's always amazing. Last year was like that, the Hollywood Bowl. At that time, it was about the biggest show we'd done. But this one topped that.
Wow, and that's the very same, similar type of tape recorder.
I taped this in 1967, and these were tapes that were only available to consumers at that time. Here is a good example of another program, which we can listen, Jack Benny program. Many of these do exist, some of them don't. Here is some nostalgia from Jack Benny, 1960.
Is getting a plaque like this a real honor? Oh, Jack, there have only been 3 of these plaques awarded in the world. Bernard Baruch, Grandma Moses, and you.
And you've got Campy's Corner.
And I must emphasize again, we're talking about television, not radio recordings. Jack Benny from television. Here is Campy's Corner, WPIX, a local show with Roger Maris. Very, very lost.
Roger, Al, and Jackie, welcome to Campus Corner. Well, I'd like to direct my first question to Roger Maris, now with the New York Yankees. Just how does it feel hitting in the Yankee Stadium at that short right field stands?
Well, very good, Roy. It always feels good to be shooting at a short porch.
Now, I'd like to ask one other thing. Now, in the day games there, do you actually see the ball very good, or is the background very bad for batting?
Okay, very interesting.
Examples of lost television.
Great, thanks a lot, Phil. And some of Phil's recordings, Collector's Choice, can be heard on WGBB Radio. Ray Gross is the host of a show that airs on Sunday night. Ray, tell us a little bit about that show.
Well, it's called Sergeant Ray's Hall of Memories, and basically I play some of Phil's stuff, which is old TV, and the rest is things like The Shadow, The Green Hornet, and The Phantom, and things that people remember back in the 40s and 50s. The show is basically for people who have lived in that era. Also, those that can't see.
Right. Okay, and Vinny De Palma writes for that particular radio show.
Yes.
You do a lot of the writing for that. What got you interested in that?
Well, I just love the concept of Ray's show. I'm an old-time nostalgia buff for both radio and television. I just love listening to it. And this Sunday night we have a Dean Martin's roast. February 8th, 1974, which I wrote the script for. And I think it's really going to be a terrific show.
Okay, all right. Thank you both very much. Again, that can be heard on WGBB. That's 12:40 a.m. on Sunday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. Carol, Patty Ann.
Christina, thank you very much. I wonder, does Roger Maris see those balls better in the daylight or under the lights at night? Well, we've got a lot more ahead for you on this day as we head into the first weekend of summer. We'll be back.
Those of you who saw my first show 2 weeks ago will probably notice that
If you see breaking news in progress, you can call News 12's TIPS hotline at 1-800-316-TIPS. If you're an online subscriber, you can contact us at news12@prodigy.com. Or if you have access to the internet, reach us at www.news12.com.